Good Monday morning. It's cloudy outside. Maybe there's a reason for that. Wow. The Tigers basketball team is making history in a not very good way. In a bad way, if we're going to be honest about it. Things have unraveled. There's just no way to put a pretty bow on this one. The Grizzlies are winning, but in the end, are they losing? And they've lost their big prize, other than John Morant, Zach Edey, done for the year. More on that in a bit. Let's talk Tigers. And what we saw yesterday, we have seen repeated now for a few games. The Tigers come out and they have energy. They build a lead. It's usually 4-0, 5-0, something along those lines. Then there is a drought. And within that drought, they end up falling behind by double digits, which they don't recover from. They cut the lead in the second half. They're down double digits at the break. They cut that lead down. In yesterday's case, it was 7. Sometimes it's been 3. The game against Wichita, they actually took a lead and had that lead with 1:40 to go. But in the end, they've yet all year long to figure out a way to finish. Most of the time, they just disappear altogether at the end of the game. Sometimes they make it interesting until the end. But if you go back and you look from the very beginning, unless this Tigers basketball team has a lead from the get-go, Charlotte at UAB, the first game they played against the Blazers. They take leads, they keep leads. When they have to come from behind, they can't do it. I'm going to ask, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but just to make a point. Look at that little smile from Landon Schmidt. What do you think the Tigers' record is this year when they trail at the break?
Trailing at the break.
Yes.
0-16?
1-16.
1-16. Wow, okay.
1-16 when they're trailing at the break, which proves the point. Mm-hmm. They cannot finish games. They don't know how to win. They're not going to wake up and do that. Unless they get a big lead right off the bat and keep that lead against USF, I don't see how they beat the best team in the league come Thursday night. Then they got to go to a Tulane team that will be trying to get less games in Birmingham with a chance to win the tournament. They've already beaten Memphis, so they've got everybody's got the confidence they can beat Memphis now. 7-9, for goodness sake. 17 losses, 12-17, 6 straight losses. That's the worst losing streak, not just in the Penny Hardaway era. That's 28 years. Go back, I believe that's the Tick Price. You want to take it even worse? The last time they lost 17 games, go back to 1969-70. That's what, 56 years? 57 years. Holy mackerel. These are historic lows. I thought they played hard yesterday. Really, I did. I thought the guys that were there pretty well gave it their all. We see silly mistakes by players that I just don't think seem to get it. Tierno Silla picks up silly fouls. Aaron Bradshaw's not 100%. He tried. Zach Davis had just a horrendous game. And when I think about Zach Davis, and I'm not pointing the finger directly at him, but I will say this. 2 of the last 3 years of this Penny era, there have been teams that were expected to win. One team in particular played really good. They were in the top 10 in the country. They had a teammate who left the team, Jordan Brown. Penny let him back. The team basically folded at the end of the year. The Tigers derailment actually came before the suspensions of Hassan Abdul Hakim and Zach Davis, but they both got suspended at the early parts of this losing streak. And while he kept Hakim gone, he brought back Zach Davis. And in fact, Zach Davis really needed to play a lot yesterday because you were down. You weren't sure if Aaron Bradshaw was going to play at all. You were already down Ashton Hardaway, and you were down Tariq Ingram, probably the best fundamental offensive big man the Tigers have when you look at footwork and boxing out and things of that nature. Not the most effective, but certainly fundamentally sound. He couldn't play. He took an elbow from Scylla in practice, had a concussion, didn't travel with the team. So you were down guys, and Zach Davis had to play a big role. And, you know, I hate to say this for Zach Davis, but the guy was 1 of 5 with 4 fouls, 3 turnovers. See what he was in his minutes there. Zach Davis was
17.
Minus 7 in the 16 minutes and 40 seconds that he played. I have no idea if this is the common denominator, but it seems to me if a guy jettisons and leaves your team, whether he quits or you jettison him, and then when you bring him back, I don't know what the other players think. I've never asked anybody on the post-game interviews, what did you think about that move? Because that was a move that was made by the coaches, and it's the player's job to accept whatever the coach directs. But I have no idea what inside the locker room the players felt about that. But I know they haven't won a game since that occurrence. That was at North Texas. Tigers were favored yesterday and lost by 16 points? Final 84-68. They could not defend. In medals, I will give Jordan Riley a medal. Here's a guy, I'll tell you what, if you are a Temple fan, you've got to be kicking yourself in the butt. This guy played at Temple. He transferred last year to East Carolina. East Carolina, by the way, had 7 guys return from a team that won 19 games. They won 10 in conference. It was their best year in decades, and they haven't been able to repeat it. But this kid Riley's worth the price of admission. He's probably the only really good player they have. They got another guy who I thought was better till I saw him in person, Giovanni Emejuru. He did not have much of a game last night. He had 4 points, 4 rebounds. He took some wild shots. Didn't take a lot. He was 2 of 5. But you can't compare to the guy that will be the player of the year, Isaiah Nelson, who Memphis will see on Thursday night. So this is not a great team. This is a team that was picked near the bottom. This is a team that's playing near the bottom. And this is a team that dismantled the University of Memphis, who had won 4 or 5 games in a row. They'd won the last time they played in Minji's Coliseum in Greenville. They beat them by over 20. Michael Schwartz, their head coach, had never beaten the University of Memphis. He was 0-3. And that streak is over. So now, the Tigers have 2 more games. They play the best team in the league, the team that was picked second behind them in the American Athletic Association Conference, AAC, or as they like to say, just the American. I think they're clearly the best. And by the way, they can clinch the outright championship Thursday night, which means they get the triple bye, the number 1 seed. They'll wear their home uniforms the whole time they are in Birmingham. And then you got to finish that with a game at Tulane. They're currently tied for 9th. They want better seeding. They've still got 2 opportunities. And they'll be at home. It'll be their last game. Where's their heads at? They already know they can beat Memphis. They beat them in Memphis. Ron Hunter, not a good record against the U of M. He's out for blood. He may be coaching for his job. I don't know for a fact, but it could very well be that if the Tigers lose both games, now they don't have the tiebreak against East Carolina, they could miss the tournament in Birmingham. They would have ended the year with an 8-game losing streak and not make the tournament. That is absolutely possible, which obviously is like never entered your mind until maybe yesterday. Never entered your mind. The Tigers were favored in that game. I'm going to check real quick because I want to make sure I clearly remember who East Carolina plays to end this year. Because if they go 2-0 and the Tigers go 0-2, they will be in the tournament because of the tiebreak. So East Carolina ends. They play at home Thursday against Tulsa, and then they end their year at UAB. So we know at the moment they're 6-10. So is Rice. Memphis has the tiebreak on Rice. If Memphis wins both games, it doesn't matter. They're 7-9. But if they lost both games and East Carolina were to win really just one, they would be tied and they would get to go. Now, Temple's going to have a say in this too, because Temple, just like Memphis, is 7-9, and the Owls will play to finish this year, and they lost at home to Rice to make this even more tricky. They will play Tulane on Thursday. They finish at Tulsa. I would say they're in trouble. You could see Rice and East Carolina both make this tournament and Memphis and Temple not. That would be the most bizarre thing. That's what you're looking at here. Crazy, crazy stuff. So I think Memphis has to win one of these two. And I just don't know. I honestly, when you saw the makeup of this team at the beginning, look, they were picked to win the whole league. You never would have guessed that this would come. Then you realize, as we've talked about, the roster construction was flawed, and they don't have an A guy. Doug, Sincere played with a cloud over his head until just recently. They are really good players. They're just not great players. There's not a Kendrick Davis. There's not a P.J. Haggerty. There's not a David Jones. There's not a DeAndre Williams. There's not a Dane Danger. There's not that guy. Maybe Aaron Bradshaw will be next year. I'm not sure. But I know he's not now. And he's playing with a bad left wing. I would have to say, if you are looking objectively at this very moment, it's 50-50 whether they make the tournament or not, which is a prospect that you would never, ever have thought could happen. The Grizzlies, they've won 2 in a row. My goodness, what are they thinking about? What are they thinking about, Landon Schmidt?
Not picks, I guess.
Well, at least it's good to know. I'm gonna have to give Walter Clayton a medal here. Walter Clayton,
him one
career high in assists yesterday, gets his first start, I believe. So they win 2 games on the road, one within their own conference. That's not so good at Dallas because Dallas is the one that is right below them. Those are ping pong ball up percentages. And then they go to Indy, where Clayton was really good. I think Taylor Hendricks had his best game of the year. So now they're firmly in 11th. Not great for the Tank to win 2 road games, but at least you can't say they're tanking. Now, no word yet on Ja, right? That gets released this week, isn't that right?
Yeah, I think he gets reevaluated this week.
We know Edie is out for the rest of the year. He's going to have ankle surgery again. So Edie has played 2 years now. This is his second year. Last year was his rookie year. In both those years, do you happen to know, maybe you can look this up very quickly, do you know how many games has he played in totally?
Who?
Zach Edey.
Zach Edey.
So there's there's like 60-something games already played. There's only like 21 or 22 games left. So out of the, say, 60 games this year and the 82 available last year, that's 142 games that are available. How many games has Zach Edey played in?
A total of 77 regular season games.
So a little over half the games. But this year, how many? 12 games? 10 games?
I mean, if that.
The ankle worries me because it was the ankle last year, and then they said, you know what, we're going to take care of this.
11.
We're going to have surgery. 11 this year out of 60. We're going to take care of this. We're going to do this surgery. This is going to prevent this issue. We're tightening up whatever is the weakness or the flaw in the ankle. And that didn't work, so they got to do it again. Now, I haven't talked to any orthopedic doctors yet on this, but I will. What are the odds that's going to get fixed completely? I don't know. This guy, I watched him in college. I loved the guy. I did think he could make it in the NBA, and he proved in the 77 games that he's played, and in particular, the 11 games this year, that he can be a factor. He can run the floor well enough. You know, you can't teach that height and that reach. And the guy's a competitor. That's what I like about him. He's a fiery competitor. He wants to win. He wants to play. But I'm worried about that ankle. I am worried about that ankle. There was another player that was getting reevaluated, so we know he's out for a while longer. I can't remember who that was. I hope it wasn't Brandon Clark.
I know Steph Curry's getting reevaluated this week.
Oh, I know that, but I'm talking on the Grizzlies. There was somebody else besides
I thought Brandon was out for the rest of the year.
We'll double check on that. If that's the case, they're just not going to have a big guy. No. We'll see what happens. Last thing, and we got Mike DeCourcy coming up in our next segment, and then we will finish that with our medals. Got some interesting ones for you. But this came out, I think it's either ESPN or Sports Illustrated that came out with this newest thing, the hottest of the hot seats for football coaches in the college game. Who do you think is at the top of the list?
It's a broad list to kind of go through.
Well, there's 4 guys that are the hottest of hot seats. Then they got some others. They dwindle them down. But there's 4.
Is Kalen on there?
No.
Kalen's not on there?
Mm-mm. Mike Norvell.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is the hottest of the hot seats, number 1. Number 2, and it's just like Norvell. Like I didn't think there's any way Mike Norvell would not succeed. But he struggled. The second guy, I thought for sure was a home run hire. And that was Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. I have no idea what has happened there. You know, that guy was just sort of jockeying position. He would love the Ohio State job because he's from Columbus, Ohio. That ain't happening. Then there's Dave Aranda from Baylor. He's the third of the hottest hot seats. And the final one is the coach at Maryland that I know Greg Gaston has now been campaigning for 2 years to get rid of, and that is Mike Loxley. So those are the 4 of the hottest hot seats. I'll tell you what's hot. What's really good, but it's hot because people like it. That's the Commissary Buffet. You realize that at the Commissary, you've got two locations to go to, but there's only one that has the buffet. That is the one in Collierville. That's, I like to call it the Big Palace there. The one in Collierville, outstanding. You can get the buffet. It's all you can eat. 3 proteins. There's always going to be chicken and pork. You get a drink. You get salad. It's just the best for $15.95. All you can eat Monday through Friday at Collierville. That's Poplar and Houston Levy. You've always got that little quaint, great place that you guys voted plain and clear. You voted commercial appeal. They did that little competition like a NCAA tournament, and the Commissary blew everybody away. That little quaint place in Germantown, I love it. I love the atmosphere in there. It's the best. Germantown Commissary. You cannot beat it. You can't beat the sale going on in Family Leisure. I sit in the Family Leisure studios, but you need to go where the floor model spa sale is happening. That's I-40 and Whidden Road. It is time to make room. That's what Lindsay has said. She owns the place. And she says you can get deep discounts on over 100 different display models. They still got a bunch in there. All the in-stock hot tubs, swim spas, and the cold plunges, that's the newest thing. They're all really deeply discounted because they got to make room for the spring stuff. Go cash in. Go see Billy. He's the salesman. I happen to know him well, and he gives you the best service you could possibly get. Go see them all. Tell them we sent you. There could be a little prize in there for you. Just get to I-40 and Whidden Road and help them out with the floor model spa sale going on at Family Leisure. We take the break. We're heading to Pittsburgh from the Sporting News. Their senior college basketball writer is Mike DeCourcy. He comes your way in just a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Granted, you might not want a piping hot cup of coffee on a toasty summer day, but no matter how cold it gets, you want to enjoy an ice-cold beer or maybe a signature cocktail on the rocks. And the place for those is Bell Tavern, Memphis's perfect downtown neighborhood bar. Unless you're lucky enough to live within walking distance of a great bar, you're going to have to get there somehow, and chances are that's going to be a ride share. And if you're already taking one of those, it's not going to cost you more to have them carry you downtown to Bell Tavern. Not every neighborhood is blessed with a great bar, so make downtown your neighborhood and make Bell Tavern your neighborhood bar.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait, and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-780-3599. 800-780-3599. 800-780-3599.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. Just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We are heading to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in a moment. We're going to talk to the senior college basketball writer for the Sporting News. That would be Mike DeCourcy. He's brought to you by the Memphis Sports Council and Memphis Tourism. You know, we've got a fast-paced, exciting sports scene every year for every kind of fan, whether it's pro, semi-pro, amateur, youth, college sporting events. Memphis checks all the boxes for every sports fan. Each year, Memphis Tourism and the Memphis Sports Council, they work to recruit sporting events and tournaments that do fill hotels. All the local hotels are thriving. Restaurants, attractions, all have out-of-town athletes and the family and the friends that come to see them compete. The latest numbers show that in a single year, sporting events booked by the Memphis Sports Council garnered about 80,000 hotel room nights and an estimated $80 million in capital for the economy. Memphis Tourism and the Memphis Sports Council, that's a winning combination, and they bring you Mike DeCourcy as we head to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Good morning, Mike DeCourcy. Hard times here, that's for sure, for the Tigers. They have now tied with 17 losses, the worst or the most losses in a single season since 69-70. They've lost 6 in a row. That's the first time in 28 years they've lost that many games straight. It is tough times in a league. And I want to ask you, what is the national perception of the American? I think they're 10th or 11th usually in some of these analytics. How good do you think USF is? They come to town on Thursday night, late night game, 8 o'clock. And what is your sense of the Tigers and Penny Hardaway, for that matter? Good morning.
Well, let's start with the most important of those, which is obviously Penny. And I've had some online conversations about him and his status at Memphis, and I'm disappointed. I'd say that's probably a light way to put it, but I'm disappointed that but not at all surprised that the immediate conversation turns to his future and whether it should continue. And I just think that it's almost to me as if once we get past the games, and even sometimes before the games, it becomes this really easy point of conversation. The guy has a rough year. Okay, it's time. Well, why? He won the league a year ago and earned a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. Now, I know that didn't go great, but first of all, the 12 they played was very good. And second of all, they played it without their point guard.
Without both point guards. They lost their backup, too.
Yeah, and they had to play with P.J. Haggerty, which means that you get weaker at 2 spots, as P.J.'s not the point guard that they had, and you go from having an All-American shooting guard to a above average, maybe a little bit better than that point guard, but no All-American shooting guard. The odds of winning that game aren't great. And I was not in favor. I will say, this is why I preface this by saying this, because so that way you know the full picture. I was not in favor of hiring Penny at the time. The track record for NBA players who hadn't coached in college, disastrous is a good word for it. I mean, it's abysmal. But Penny's changing that. His experience has changed it to, you can be successful. If you're Penny, I guess maybe some others could, but he's shown that it is possible to be successful, and he has had a good run. When I see silly things like only one NCAA tournament in however many, I think it's 9 years he's been there, 9 seasons.
This is eight, and he's had three appearances, but one win.
One win. Yeah, I mean, first of all, are we going to take into account what's happened in those 8 years to college sports in general and to Memphis's place in college sports in those 8 years? It's completely been rewritten. The entire thing has changed, and Memphis, for whatever reasons, was unable to latch on to the ladder that would have carried them up to a major conference. I was not in favor of that. I told leagues and publicly and privately, you should go to Memphis. It's going to be good for you. It's a real program where they care, where they've been competitive, and they decided that it wasn't for them, and it's certainly had an impact on Memphis basketball in a lot of ways. And the fact that they were able to put together the team that they did a year ago under those circumstances is pretty impressive. Now, look, I hope that Penny remains, and I hope he learns a lot of lessons from the group he put together this year. I think one of the frustrations of this year is that he didn't learn enough from the 24 season and what some of the players who were involved in that team, what they were like in 24. He didn't say, okay, I don't want to go down that road again. Let's not do that. Let's do more what I did in 25. And maybe he doesn't have as many options because the transfer portal is what it is. But you have to be careful about that. And I think he needs to. The other thing that I tell coaches all the time now is you can't just be a portal program. You have to be a program, especially one like Memphis. And I'm removed from the talent scene more than I was 5-6 years ago. I don't get out in the summers to see the various camps and such. But there's just I have to believe there's still some ballers in Memphis and the area, and you're not seeing the matriculation of those players into the Memphis program at the levels you once did. But whether it's from Memphis or anywhere else, you have to build a program. You can't just ride the portal, because if you do it exclusively, these seasons are going to happen from time to time.
It's funny that you say that. The Tigers do have one high school signee who's a 3-star guard. There is a 4-star teammate of his, best buddy of his, Fred Smith, oddly enough, is the name. Briarcrest player that most people think will come. Penny has talked about more and more going local because they care about the city more instead of just the paycheck, which seems to be a part of the game now, that there's more passion for the money than there may be for winning. Thedford is a Memphis kid who's played pretty well. He's the Tigers' leading rebounder at 6'4", 6'5". He's not really 6'5", 6'4" maybe. Right. And Curtis Givens III, who was once a very highly sought after recruit who has inconsistency in his game. I guess that's the best way I could put it. But he's a Memphis kid, and I think he does care. Those two guys coming back. So there's the nucleus of 4 that would return. I think he'll bring back Aaron Bradshaw, I would guess, because I think he's got an upside. He's never lived up to the billing, but he's improved this year. I don't know, but I do think you are going to see from Penny more of a desire to bring local kids back because he thinks they have a passion for playing for the school, for the city.
Yeah, I think that will be helpful, and I think you have to learn. I think more programs have to look at the players that they're bringing in. Okay, they did X numbers at X school. Those teams win? Did they win when those players were there? Because if they're not winning there, why would they win for you? I think that's fair. I've talked about this in relation to Bill Self, and look, he's still got a lot of portal guys. His two best and most important players, Flory Badunga was a high school recruit, and obviously Darren Peterson now and he's not been without his challenges. But those they need to get more talent coming in the freshman class, and they need to go back to as well. One of the things that they need to do is there's never been a better developer of talent than Bill Self. Look at the guys he's turned into All-American. Frank Mason became a National Player of the Year. In this era, he might not be because more guys are staying longer, and he would have slightly less of an advantage in that department. But okay, so he's first team All Big 12 or Big 12 Player of the Year after 4 years with you. Still helps you win games. And I think that that's something that he got away from, and I think he realizes that. And I think it's one of the reasons why they're starting to move significantly forward in this season and probably beyond. And I just don't want Memphis to panic because they had a bad year. Other programs around the country in this era with great traditions are going to have bad years because of the nature of this. Because you're making decisions with less information than you used to,
right?
And you're going to make more mistakes. Even terrific coaches, like I said, Bill Self, they had their 2 worst years at the early part of the true portal era. He won a championship with transfers in 22, but the true portal cranking where guys were changing places almost annually, it didn't really start until 2-3 years ago, and he had his 2 worst years there. So it's going to happen to a lot of programs that go that way, and I really believe that the work that Penny's done at Memphis has been terrific, sensational, magnificent, maybe not, but under the circumstances he's been given, trying to maintain a major program in what is not a major league is really hard.
To your point about the portal recruiting as opposed to high school recruiting, I've heard a couple of coaches, in particular Penny, in detail, talk about when you are recruiting a high school player, most of the time you start to get to know that kid as a freshman or as a sophomore. You know his parents, you know his work habits, you know his grades, you know what he's capable of. When you are getting a guy from a portal, you may know him for 2 or 3 days.
Right, unless you happened to recruit him out of high school, or you happen to play against him, so maybe you, whether it's non-conference or conference, so maybe you know his tape, but in terms of the actual acquaintance, I can tell you this story about, if you've watched Kingston Flemings, if you watched the Houston Cougars this year.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, and so Kingston Flemings made 25 unofficial visits to the University of Houston campus from the time he was a freshman until he entered the program. He actually trained with the Cougars at the end of his high school senior year. Once he was already signed and all that, he would drive up to train in their gym, in their weight room and such. And he missed his high school prom to do it because that was more important to him. And it's going to pay off big. He's having a tremendous freshman year, and he'll be a lottery pick in the NBA draft. But that you don't have that luxury with the portal, but you do need to. I think you need to factor winning in more, unless you have a team that's like, okay, I'm all set at these positions. I just need another power forward. I just need another shooter or a couple. So then you can look at, okay, he didn't win there, but he's a 45% 3-point shooter. It's not going to matter. Everybody else will get him in order, and he'll bust threes, and we'll be great. That's different. But when you're rebuilding the whole group, you have to be careful about recruiting winners.
You mentioned not a major league, and the American is not. It's the best of the group of now 6. I think in football, clearly not in basketball. Of course, you got the Big East that comes into play.
The Big East is considered a power basketball league.
Yeah.
You can't not when they've got 2 of the last 10 champions or whatever.
Right, I agree with you.
Excuse me, two schools winning 4 of the last 10 championships, I should say. But beyond that, you have the Atlantic 10, you have the Mountain West. The American fits in there with them. Maybe at the end of that line, but they're in that list. And then the West Coast Conference, which is at the top of the league, as good as probably the Big East. But it like completely completely drops off a cliff after their first three.
When you talk about that, you're talking St. Mary's Gonzaga. I would say dominated, I guess, Gonzaga the other night. Who's the third or fourth in
Santa
there?
Clara this year.
Okay. So is the American 10th or 11th in your mind? And how good do you think USF is? And I'll tell you, they've got a great piece, probably the player of the year in a center, and a post player in Isaiah Nelson. They've got two unbelievable shooters. They got a pretty good point guard in a sophomore named C.J. Brown. I'm not saying this team's a Sweet 16 team, but I think it's a pretty good ball club.
They will probably be a 12 seed in the tournament. That's if they win the league. If they don't win the league, I think they're going to have difficulty getting into the field.
I would agree.
Right now, they're 64th in the wins above bubble category. That's the most important of the record-based results metrics, whatever you want to call it. I call them resume metrics because it just involves grading who you've beaten, where you've beaten them, who you lost to, etc. And that they are at 64, and it's going to be hard to climb over all the teams that are in between them and what would be the end of the line. If you're losing a game in the American tournament.
You do the bracketology for Fox. Who is the best overall team in the country? How solid are they as the number one?
Well, right now Duke is the number one overall seed, and I think Arizona and Michigan are very close to them. And obviously Michigan couldn't be the one overall ahead of them because they played on a neutral court and Duke won the game. Whether that is consequential to the championship, it affects both teams in that they know what they need to do to excel, or they know what they need to do better to excel. In the case of Michigan, I think Arizona's terrific. Their resume is probably in the same neighborhood as Michigan's. Could be 2-3, 3-2 overall, whichever. But they're outstanding. I love their team. I love the way they're constructed. But a fascinating element that I uncovered for a show that I do on Fox Sports FS1 called Big Time Hoops, that they are 361st or 362nd in 3-point usage.
Wow.
They take a lower percentage of shots from 3-point range than almost any team in the country. There's like 365 teams now, and so I'm like, well, why? Is that because they're bad at it? It's not. They're 85th out of those 360 in accuracy. So it's not that they're bad at it. It's just that their system emphasizes getting the ball into the lane, whether it's by attacking the lane and finishing a play, or getting the ball inside to one of the multiple low post scorers they have, getting the ball into the rim and making a decision. Whatever it is, that's the way they want to play it. And teams have so much difficulty dealing with that they most often stay once they get there, so to speak. A lot of teams go to the lane so they can kick it out for threes, and Arizona's not averse to that, but their deal is that they get the ball in Koa Pete's hands, and Koa's got those shoulders, and it's like, good luck trying to stop him. And so it's no team since 2012 Kentucky had anything like their profile in that department. They were the last team to take a lower percentage of their shots from 3-point range, and essentially no team in the Ken Palm era has ranked as low in percentage of threes. Because remember, when Kentucky did it, fewer teams were taking threes. That was before the Steph Curry revolution.
Right.
So no team in the Ken Palm era has taken a lower percentage of threes than Arizona. And it really goes all the way back to UCLA in '95 when they only took. I love this when I came up with. They took 11% of their shots from threes in 1995.
They must have had a great post player. That's all I can think of.
Well, they had George Zedek, they had Ed O'Bannon, they had they had Charles O'Bannon, and they good luck against them on the baseline.
Yeah. He's Mike DeCourcy, senior college basketball writer for the Sporting News. Our good friend. Thank you much. We appreciate it. We'll talk next Monday.
Thank you very much, Dave.
Thank you. That is Mike, brought to you by Memphis Tourism and the Memphis Sports Council. This portion of the show also brought to you by Landers Cadillac of Memphis. Oh, yeah. How can you not want to go see that place? So cool inside, so nice. Took a long time to remodel the place, but it is up. It's running, and they're paying top dollar for trades. See how much you can save when you go to the Landers Easy Pass. You get there by going to @CadillacofMemphis.com. Don't miss out on all the great offers right now, and go look and see all the new models are in. And you know, if it's a Cadillac that comes to you from the folks at Landers, that model will sell fast. And remember, if it doesn't say Landers, you paid way too much. We take the break. When we come back, our Monday tradition, we've got medals, good and bad. They come your way in a minute.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, fellas. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. Christmas and Valentine's Day have come and gone, but you know that at some point you'll need to make your favorite lady happy on her anniversary or her birthday, or just because you want her to know how special and important she is. At Russell Brothers, we've been helping gentlemen for over 5 decades do just that. When a gift-giving occasion arises, we're here to help you. Magnificent diamond rings, beautiful necklaces, shimmering gemstone bracelets. So much to choose from, and the possibilities are endless. At Russell Brothers, you can always know that if you surprise her and she'd rather have something else, we're happy to exchange or refund your money within 30 days. Beauty, value, quality, and service are the things that set Russell Brothers apart from other jewelers. Come see us at Russell Brothers Jewelers, 4646 Poplar. Let us help you say you're the best to that wonderful lady in your life.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. I wanted to take a minute and discuss advertising with you. There are so many websites that list the best service provider in your area. Even the BBB has an accredited list. You know the one thing they all have in common? A company like mine has to pay to get on that list. So that begs the question, can those lists be trusted? You know what can be trusted? History. We've been around for almost 30 years providing customers with the best service and the best products that we possibly can. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call. We'll come talk to you and let you decide for yourself whether or not we know what we're talking about. Fiveash Roof Services. Best products, best warranties, and in many cases, the best price. We're fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant, objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 Cordova, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-size courts, 3 high school-size courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member at both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis, now in Cordova and Collierville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We hand out medals in a minute. It's brought to you by Sheldon. You ever wonder where your doctor goes when he or she gets sick, or what does your dentist do when they got a toothache? They always have somebody they can turn to. That's what happens with Sheldon. If a former real estate agent retires or they've got too many clients to work with, where do they turn to? They turn to the pro that works 24/7, 365. My guy, Shell Dunn. He's got that strategic marketing program. They know about it. They trust it too. That's why they turn to him. They will talk with him. They will probe him with questions. He's always got the answers. Look, he's been doing this a long time. And that program that he's got, it really works. He will be with you all the way to the closing table. He's by your side 24/7. That's why people always say when you want the job done, you call Shell Dunn. You can call him or email him, and then he's got all the answers you could possibly need. To email, it's memphisrelocate.com. To call, 483-0546. So do what the other professionals have done. They call him, 483-0546, or go to memphisrelocate.com. Time for medals. I am going to start with a bronze for a guy that if he were on a winning team, he would be the Americans Player of the Year. He's their leading scorer. He's number 2 in the country. Came into the game in conference games, averaging 26 a game. Yesterday against the Tigers, who are supposed to have one of the better defenses in the American, he scored 31. He grabbed 12 rebounds. He had 3 assists. He had 2 steals. He had a block. He is really and truly the only major talent on that East Carolina team. They got another guy, Emajuru, a post player who's got decent numbers because he gets minutes, but he's not a great player. This guy's the real deal. He gets a bronze from me. I also will give Walter Clayton. Gets his first start in the Grizzlies uniform, 14 assists, career high. In a win over Indy at Indy. Not so sure it helped the team in the tanking race, but it got them their second win in a row. Walter Clayton gets a bronze from me. Silver, I will give one to Nico Echevarria. Who is he? He won the Cognizant yesterday. He was handed the win. I'll get to that when we get to Russ. That was his third PGA win. He did stay steady. That's the best you could say. I don't think he was aware of what was going on beyond him until he got on the 18th green. Once he was there, he two-putted, and he knew he was in great shape. Echevarria wins the Cognizant. A silver medal to Nolan Smith, the former Tiger assistant, who late in the year got the job at Tennessee State when their head coach came to be an assistant with the Grizz. All he's done is go 21-9, 15-5 in the OVC, and a share of the regular season title. I wonder if Nolan Smith will be in Nashville at Tennessee State next year. I would not be shocked if he got gobbled up for a job in a Power 4. Well, really, there's like 5 or 6 power conferences in basketball with the Big East. He's going somewhere because he is a top-notch talent. And then my gold goes to the UConn women and Gino Auriemma. They went 31-0 to win the Big East regular season. You know how many times he's had undefeated regular seasons, Gino Auriemma?
It's been a lot. I know that
11.
Much. Yeah.
That is unbelievable. It is the team's 47th straight win. In that winning streak, their average margin of victory is 37.8 points, almost 38 points. This streak is the 5th longest streak going on. UConn in women's basketball owns 5 of the top 6 winning streaks. Gino Auriemma, obviously, is a Hall of Famer, but I can tell you that may be this dynasty of his may be the most dominant of any sport, including back to John Wooden in UCLA. What he's done for this amount of time and all those streaks, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's hard to go against something like that. My first bronze medal, I don't watch much of the TGL at all, if ever. But when I see that Rory McIlroy hit a drive 392 yards, and yes, it was a
then I wonder about the computer on that one.
I know it's a simulator and all that kind of stuff, but still, it looks like he got a hold of it. And that's a TGL record. And
I will say this,
going really well
in PGA Tour competition. I've seen him hit 365 with a 320 carry.
Yeah, he can clobber the mess out of it. So that's why it's not that hard to believe. But his team Boston's doing great. They've already clinched the playoffs. I don't watch a lot of TGL, but I know that Rory's doing great with Team Boston.
I'm assuming 392 is now the longest distance ever.
It's the record
on a drive
TGL.
in TGL.
Yeah, that's the record. And speaking of records, I'm also giving a bronze to Walter Clayton as well, who ended up tying the single game rookie record with assists in 14 in this season of the NBA. And it's kind of interesting to give them a bronze when the whole goal is to kind of be tanking this season, and now we've won 2 in a row. So kind of going against the grain on that one.
Well, he'll get injured here soon, don't worry.
Yeah, it'll be another contusion or something, and then he'll be sidelined. I'll give a bronze medal to Ohio State, who has been playing really competitive basketball and got a huge upset over Purdue. Kind of a rust for Purdue, losing 2 straight against Michigan State and now Ohio State, so they're definitely falling off the deep end there. I'm going to give a silver medal to the dominant performance of the Knicks against a really good Spurs team, led by Mikal Bridges, a 114-89 win. They came out strong and never let up, so really, really good showing from them. Giving a silver medal to that Florida and Arkansas game, and talk about a Florida team that rallied. They had 7 players hit double figures in that game, and that was the largest win in program history against an AP-ranked opponent with 34 points.
That, I believe, tied a low worst loss for John Calipari.
Yeah, that was an incredible game for them. And then my gold medal, I'm giving it to Tyler Reddick, who just won his 3rd race in NASCAR, which is the first time in NASCAR history that somebody has won 3 straight races.
Really?
3 straight races.
That's the first time?
Yeah, first time that the first 3 races of the season that somebody has won that.
From the beginning. From the start of the year.
The first 3 to start the season. And that's the car that is co-owned by Michael Jordan. So winning in history, it seems to follow him everywhere.
Well, we gave them a medal when they won at Daytona, which is the Super Bowl. So we'll see how that goes. Very good. My 1 rust goes to Shane Lowry. Back to the Cognizant. He stood on the 16th tee box with a 3-stroke advantage. All he had to do was go par-par. He could even go bogey-bogey and win. He went double bogey on 16, double bogey on 17. He literally threw the win away. He never before on the PGA Tour has had back-to-back double bogeys. He did it when the win was within his grasp. He said it's the 2nd time this year he's fallen apart right at the finish line. I wonder how embedded that will be in his head. He gets a rust from me.
Yeah, my 1 quick rust was just that loss to ECU. That was there's nothing really redeemable about that game. Really bad loss, and now the season is ending with 2 teams that are far better than East Carolina. So I guess we'll have to sit and wait and see how that shapes up.
See if they make the tournament. That's unheard of.
That's the hope.
And medals are brought to you by the good folks at Southern Security. Whether you're a small business owner, maybe you're a single mom buying your first home, Southern Security is your trusted financial partner. They've been voted the very best credit union in the Mid-South for 6 consecutive years. We're talking about 75 years. Southern Security has been serving the Mid-South with the best rates, the best service, the best technology. They can do things that others can't because they're a not-for-profit, and they've got 7 locations. You should see the newest in Collierville. It is beautiful. You can join Southern Security so easily. You can talk to a service member at 901-452-7900, or you can just go on the website, southernsecurity.org. Southern Security, your home team credit reunion, federally insured by NCUA. The usual Tuesday, we'll hear from Munzie on this Tiger craziness and a whole lot more. That's tomorrow. Right now, you got Johnny Radio. He's right around the corner. Keep it here on Sports 56, and have a great day.